start today's class. Good morning, everybody. I will be starting with the significant figures. Okay, you might have the book from Nibusar. I just want to show you that book only. There is not much derivation or anything, so you just need to read this. Okay, so I will just show you how we can find significant figure and how we can find the different types of errors. Okay, so here significant figure, when a physical quantity is measured, the measured values are accurate only to within the limits of the experimental uncertainty. So we can measure a quantity. So if you are measuring the length of a table, then it depends on the meter scale which you take. It can be consisting, the meter scale can be consisting of centimeter or even millimeter, isn't it? So depending on that meter scale, you can have the value, the result of the length of the table will be in centimeter or in even millimeters you can write, isn't it? So it depends on the limit of the experimental uncertainty, and it depends on the tools which we use, isn't it? The significant figure will be depending on the tools also, and it depends on the limits of the experimental uncertainty. Now with example you will understand it more. If you have let me see rules on determining how many significant figures are there in a number. If you have an experimentally measured quantity, like if you have a quantity 10.55 centimeter, that means 10 centimeter 55 millimeter, isn't it? So the least count there will be 1 millimeter. So it will be 0.1 centimeter, isn't it? So it should be 0.01 centimeter. That will be 0.1 millimeter. The least count is 0.1 millimeter. So that means 0.01 centimeter. So that is the value there in the that for that measurement, the least count, isn't it? So now let us see how we can find the number of significant figures in a number which is given. So all non-zero digits are significant. Example, like 32. 32, in that number the significant digits are 2, 3 and 2. Both digits are significant. And also example 45.753, the number of significant digits are 5. So 5 digits, all the 5 digits are significant. But let us see the next rule. Zeros between non-zero digits, they are also significant. So for example 204, in that you have 3 significant digits. And 12,006, there also we have 5 significant digits. The next rule is when you have leading zeros, like as you see here in the example 0.01, the leading zeros are non-significant, so it has only one significant digit. And in a number with a decimal point, trailing zeros, all the trailing zeros also are significant. Those to the right of the last non-zero digit. The trailing zeros means those to the right of the last non-zero digit. All those numbers, all those digits will be significant. So here in this example 31.6820. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits are there significantly. Significant digits are 6. And another example 5.08000. All the trailing zeros are significant, so it has 6 significant digits. Next rule is when you have a number without decimal point, the trailing zeros may or may not be significant. It depends on the accuracy of the measurement. That is, for example, if you have a number 5,400, the zeros are not significant if the measurement has accuracy up to 100. Then you have only 54. That means you have only 2 significant digits. And if you have accuracy 10, That means you have 3 significant digits. The number will be 540. So 3 significant digits. And if you have accuracy resolution 1, then the number of significant digits will be 4. All the 4 digits will be significant. So it depends on the resolution of the measurement or accuracy of the measurement. Now, in mathematical operations like addition or subtraction, how will you write the significant digits? How many significant digits you need to write? There is a rule. So if you have the sum, like for example 1.437 plus 3.2, then you have the answer 4.637. But you have to write only the first, so the 4.6 only. The remaining 2 digits you don't need to write, because we have the rule that if you take sum or difference, the same number of decimal places as the measurement with the fewest decimal places. So the numbers which you used for addition, which one has the least number of significant digits? Fewest decimal places. Significant digits അല്ല, fewest decimal place ഏതാണോ അത്രയും ഡെസിമൽ പ്ലേസിൽ മാത്രം ഇട്ടാൽ മതി. അപ്പം നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടെ 1.437ഉം 3.2 ആണ്. അതിൽ ഫ്യൂവസ്റ്റ് ഡെസിമൽ പ്ലേസിൽ ഫ്യൂവസ്റ്റ് നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ഡിജിറ്റ്സ് ഉള്ള 3.2 അല്ലേ. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ഡിജിറ്റേ ഉള്ളൂ. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഡിജിറ്റ് അത്രയും തന്നെ ആൻസറിലും നമ്മൾ എഴുതിയാൽ മതി. അത്രയും വരെയുള്ള ഡിജിറ്റ്സ് എഴുതിയാൽ മതി. So that is the rule. Multiplication also it is the same. So if you do if you do for example multiplication 1.123 into 4, you have the answer 4.492. You write in the least significant figures as the 4.0 has only the fewest digits after the decimal is 4.0. So we are using that. So that much only you need for the answer also, 4.5. So up to that limit you put the digits. Okay. Next, errors. When you have a measurement done, you might have several kind of errors happening in that measurement. So that we call this as measurement error. So how will you define this? Measurement error is defined as the difference between the true value and the measured value. Measured value we know. We are measuring it and we know the answer. But true value, how will you know that? True value means it is, we cannot measure it, isn't it? So we say that it is the value when you, it is the average value when you do the measurement infinite times. So infinite number of times you do the measurement, take the average and then you will get the true value. And the average deviation then approaches to 0. So if you take the infinite number of measurements, when average deviation becomes 0, then only you can take that value as true value. Okay, that is the measurement error. So difference between true value and measured value, so which is measurement error. Now let us go to the different types of measurement errors. So here we have here the absolute error. Let us see. Absolute error means it is the difference between the measured value and the actual value. So measurement error itself is absolute error. And what is relative error? So this measurement error is termed different way. So first one is absolute error. Second one we call it as relative error. What is relative error? It represents the ratio of the absolute error to the actual value, actual true value. So it is the ratio. Relative error is the ratio. Percentage error is the percentage. So relative error, when you write it in percentage, then you call it as percentage error. So take the relative error, multiply it with 100, then you will get the percentage error. Remember that. So 3 ways you can write measurement error: absolute error, relative error and percentage error. Understand? Now let us move on to the different types of errors. So gross error. What is gross error? Gross error occurs when human mistake is done. Human mistakes are there. So while taking reading from the instrument or during tabulation of the data, you can do mistake, isn't it? So that mistake is called a gross error. For example, if a person observed the reading on the instrument 5.61, then he carelessly written or recorded it as 5.16, then that error is called a gross error. What is random error? Random error is an uncontrollable fluctuation in the measurement system. Due to that, experimental results will vary, isn't it? So, for example, if you have a optical measurements setup, due to opening of the laboratory doors, this light beam will be deflecting a little bit. So, there can be some error. So, this is uncontrollable fluctuations, isn't it? So, due to that, there can be random error. That is called a random error. Systematic error. What is systematic error? Systematic error which tend to shift all measurements in a systematic way. For example, due to wear and tear of the machine, incorrect calibration of the machine. All these things can make systematic errors. Always it will be continuously change in a direction it is changes. So that is why we call it as systematic error. So systematic error and random error and then gross error are the normal errors. This systematic error you can have three types: instrumental error, environmental error and observational error. Instrumental error. What is instrumental error? It is the error which is arising due to manufacturing defect or calibration of the measuring instrument. Due to friction, hysteresis, all these reasons, because of these reasons, instruments can not work properly. So it will not show the correct result. So that makes an error, instrumental error. What is environmental error? These errors occur due to the influence of some external condition of the environment, like humidity, temperature, pressure, vibration, etc. Then observational error. Observational error is due to the wrong observation of the person. So actually സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക് എറർ തന്നെയല്ല ഈ മൂന്നായിട്ട് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. ടോട്ടൽ മെഷർമെൻറ്റ് എറർ തന്നെയാണ് കേട്ടോ. ഗ്രോസ് എറർ, സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക് എറർ, റാൻഡം എറർ ഒരു രീതിയിൽ ഒരു ക്ലാസിഫിക്കേഷൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ വേറൊരു രീതിയിലെ ക്ലാസിഫിക്കേഷനാണ് ഇൻസ്ട്രുമെൻ്റൽ എറർ, എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ എറർ, ഒബ്സർവേഷണൽ എറർ. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് രണ്ട് രീതിയിൽ മെഷർമെൻറ്റ് എറർ ക്ലാസിഫൈ ചെയ്യാം. ഒന്ന് ഗ്രോസ് എറർ, സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക് എറർ, റാൻഡം എറർ, അങ്ങനെ ഒന്ന് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്യാം. അല്ല എങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഇൻസ്ട്രുമെൻ്റൽ എറർ, എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ എറർ, ഒബ്സർവേഷണൽ എററിന് നമുക്ക് ഡിഫൈൻ ചെയ്യാം. ആക്ച്വലി ഗ്രോസ് എറർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഒബ്സർവേഷണൽ എറർ അല്ലേ. അതുപോലെ എൻവയോൺമെൻറ്റൽ എറർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് സിസ്റ്റമാറ്റിക് എറർ. റാൻഡം എറർ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് ഇൻസ്ട്രുമെൻ്റൽ എറർ അല്ലേ. So that is only there about error. This can be asked in short question or in paragraph question. So you have to study it. The remaining portion I will teach you in the next class.